Students, so I'm going to talk to you today about shop cleanup and about our welding booth cleanup. So when we come into the lab for our last time, there's a couple of things that we need to do in order to get uh, our booth cleaned up for the end of the semester. So the first thing we're going to do is most of our welding tables have already been ground off. So um, if they haven't been ground off, we're going to take a grinder, and we can do this inside the grinding booth. I'm fine with that today. We're going to take a grinder and we're going to go ahead and grind them off. Once we are done grinding them, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to take a buffing wheel. That is what your buffing wheel looks like. Okay. And we're going to change out the grinding wheel. Remember, there's a stop on the back here. You're going to press that stop, and you're going to hit and turn the grinding wheel until it comes off, and replace it with the buffing wheel. And this is also on my grinder video that's in my Bitmoji shop. Shows you how to do this as well. And then plug it back in, and then we're going to, again, remove our ground, make sure it's out of the way, and buff off our tables until they're nice and shiny. Okay, that's going to be one of the first things that we do. Again, making sure that our ground is out of the way. Okay, so we're going to make sure our table's nice and clean. Once that's done, we're going to get this grinder out of our way. We're just going to move it completely out of the way. Again, making sure we have proper PPE, face shield, earplugs. I'll have earplugs out for everybody because it's going to be pretty noisy. All right. The next thing that we want to do is we want to totally disassemble all of our cables, our wires, and everything. Get this out of the way. We want to roll up, not enough coffee this morning, I apologize. We want to roll up our cable, our MIG gun. So we're going to take our MIG gun and we're going to roll it up the way that it naturally rolls, underneath and over the top. Underneath and over the top. Once we get here, we're going to go ahead and cut the tip off. Remove the gas nozzle, take off the contact tip, and we're going to put the contact tip in the box that I will have open that has all of the MIG parts. Okay? And we'll make sure that we put it in the right one. We can also take our MIG pliers and go ahead and clean out our gas nozzle. And just clean it onto the ground. Make sure that our gas nozzle is nice and clean. Put our MIG pliers back. We can go ahead and put our gas nozzle back onto the gun without the contact tip. And then we will take and lay our gun up inside the cable as such. Lay the gun inside our cable as such. The next thing we're going to do is to pull the wire. If we have any type of wire up here, we're going to remove the wire. So we're going to spool the wire off. And again, I'll have ladders set out for you need to do that. Go ahead and take the spool off. And we will set the spool over on the cart where it belongs. And then we will set this back on there where it belongs. The next thing we're going to do is disconnect, take our stinger, our electrode holder, and we're going to roll it up in about a 6 to 8 inch loop. Okay, a loop about like so. Okay, about the size of your table. About the size of your table. Okay, don't ball it up too big, not too small, not too big. About the size of your table. And then we're going to take it, and your electrode holder is going to go on your first hook. Set it on your first hook. And we're going to do the same thing with our ground. Disconnect our ground and roll it up about the same size, about a 6 to 8 inch loop. And it's going to go on the back hook back there, and just set it on there. All right. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our rod bucket here. We're going to look at our rod stubs. Now, if you've got little bitty rod stubs that are like this, that are 2 to 4 inches, throw them away. I don't want them. Chunk them. But if you've got rod stubs that are like this, 6, 8 inches, look and see what size, what type of electrode they are. And on my oxy fuel station, over there, I will have some more rod buckets like that. There will be one for 6010, there will be one for 6011, there'll be one for 6013, there'll be one for 7018. Look and see what type of electrode you have. This is 6010. Put this one in the bucket for 6010. Okay. This one's 7018. I would put it in the bucket for 7018. All right, so make sure you're putting them in the correct, because I've got other classes that'll use these for just learning how to strike an arc and run a little short bead and things like that. Okay, but if they're little bitty short stubs, or if they've had the flux beaten off of them or something like that, just throw them away. Just throw them away. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get a bench brush. This is a bench brush, and we're going to start brushing the sides of the welding booth down. We're going to brush the back part here where my tools are. Everything's going to be brushed down. My electrical outlet, brush it all down. The back part here, brush it all down as much as we can. Welding booth. Okay. Remove my pliers out of the way. We're going to brush everything down. The top of my power source, all of this up here. We're going to brush down, all of this up here. And I will have the fans on, so it will help pull a lot of this. Brush off the front of this, because there's a lot of dust and stuff gets on here. Brush off the front of this. Once we're done brushing everything down, I have a shop vac. I'll have 3 or 4 shop vacs. We can plug them in. And we can turn them on, and we can go over the same area that we just kind of brushed off and pick up anything that we may have missed. Okay. Once we're done with that, we can take our little broom and we can sweep out our welding booth. There's a part I will need, I think. Let me look at that. Nope, that's a rod stub. That's trash. And we will sweep out our welding booth. Again, once we've swept out our welding booth, we can turn on the vacuum, and especially those that are along the back wall here, go along the wall and vacuum up everything that you may have missed. You'll be surprised at parts and little slag and things that you may have missed along the legs and things like that. Once we have everything swept up and cleaned up out of our welding booth, we need to do an inventory check. We need to do an inventory check. We're going to check and make sure that we have a wire brush that has our booth number on it. This is booth 16, so that wire brush says booth number 16. You're going to check, and in your booth, there should be a chipping hammer, and there should be a pair of slip joint pliers that has your welding booth number on it. You can see right there, trying to get the reflection on it just right, booth 16. So make sure your slip joint pliers and your wire brush has your booth number on it. The chipping hammer will not have your booth number on it. Make sure your booth has a welding helmet. Make sure the welding helmet is turned off. Just turn it gently till it clicks. Make sure that you take your welding jacket. Once you are done, take your welding jacket and you can hang it up on the end of your post right here. When we are done with our welding tables, there's a way I want them set back in. You will notice there is a tab here. I want those tabs facing the back wall. I do not want them facing forward. See how this tab is facing the back wall? That's the way I want it facing. Okay. I do not want them. I don't want them on this side. I want them towards the back. Once we have everything swept out in our booth, then we need to sweep where Mr. Clark sits, where the water table is. We need to get all of that floor area swept up. We need to get the center of the shop area swept up. We need to get underneath the oxy-fuel table swept. We need to get in between the oxy-fuel table swept. So all of this open shop area over here, all of this open shop area that is to the east of the shop, all of that needs to be swept. Those of you that are in the two booths in the corner, I'll have some special instructions about pulling your welders completely out, because they're on carts. We'll unplug them and pull them completely out. Okay, so I believe that covers just about everything that I want to cover. Again, buffing off the tables, making sure that your inventory is correct. Your wire brush and your slip joint pliers has your name on it, or has your booth number on it. Making sure that your helmet, your jacket, and a pair of gloves. Pair of gloves right here. Make sure those are right and left glove. Hanging up your leads, removing the wire, making sure that your gases are turned off, and getting everything swept out and vacuumed up vacuuming up everything that is in here, making sure that there's no metal. Please make sure that there's no metal left inside your welding booth. Make sure that it is all cleaned up. Any metal that is cut that can be used for a weldment, bring it to me. I will use it for the summer school. All right. Any metal that you've welded on, or that you've used for weldment, that you've practiced on, goes inside the practice bin over there, the metal bin. You just throw it away. But any piece that you've used, um, no need for you to take it home. Leave it here for me. I'll use it for the summer school. Your crosses, you can take those home. And then once we've got done with that, then we'll proceed from there. Any questions, shoot me an email. I'll see you in the booth. I'm out.